Turns out one of the best places to hide the horrific truth is in broad daylight, while you mock it on corporate media.
So, Mikey, is it accurate to call this propaganda? Or is it just, I mean, he's trying to get people to be okay with spending trillions on stuff.
Yeah.
He's working for the government.
It's not, I mean, you could, I suppose, it's the worst piece of propaganda I've ever seen. And
you work for the CIA.
And I worked at the CIA. So,
you got us all hooked on crack in the 90s.
Well, there was that. There was MK Ultra. There was MK Ultra.
And they laughed at me. They laughed at me, I tell you, for calling them CIA-infiltrated Operation Mockingbird lamestream MK Ultra media. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna get the last laugh.
There was MK Ultra.
Is it...
Do not adjust your screen. I am standing here in the dark with my survival flashlight. So if the power grid goes down or just the electricity goes out for a while during that thunderstorm, you have plenty of lumens to light your way. And with multi-flashing modes, including emergency lights, not to mention an emergency hammer and a seatbelt cutter, it's got everything a survival flashlight should have. That was corny. Don't put that in there. It's powered by the sun. It's got a cool little compass. This thing even has a frickin' lighter. And if your battery's low on your cell phone, this baby will charge it up. The link for your survival flashlight is in the description below. Before I play this clip right here of Greg Gutfeld, and I got to play like 3 minutes of it so that you can get, we can get the context. But before I do that, because he's going to have a guest on there who's ex-CIA, I think ex-CIA is an oxymoron. Like when Anderson Poopa did that 2-year stint in as an internship while he was going to college, thanks to Gloria Vanderbilt over there, and he became a CIA asset. And now he's ex-CIA. I don't think there's such a thing as ex-CIA. Now, I could be wrong, but listen to what the former CIA director, Mike Pompeo, says about his position. And remember, a stream rises no higher than its source. In the CIA, he was the director. He was the source. And all crap runs downhill. So if the stream rises no higher than its source, then everybody downstream is like the leader. Look at this. Listen to what he says.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
Now, what disturbs me most about this video right here is not even so much what Mike Pompeo said, but the reaction of, I think it was at Texas A&M. Let's see. I think it was Texas A&M. Where was it? Yep, Texas A&M. The reaction of the crowd after he said, I was a CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. We had whole training manuals and applause. You lied, cheated, and stole. That's great. That's exactly what we want to make a strong and virulent society. That's wonderful. Lying, cheating, and stealing. I'll go right home and teach my family that. Wonderful. Listen to this.
We had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
That's what I think. When I think of the glory of the American experiment, those are the first three things I think of. Lying, cheating, and stealing. Glory. It's glorious. Now, with that as the backdrop, listen to this segment on the Greg Gutfeld show on Fox News, which, by the way, is owned by Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. CNN is owned by Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. MSLSD, Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. What's going on here? So listen to what Greg Gutfeld said. Listen to what his guest says, which I find very interesting, and hearken back to what former CIA Director Mike Pompeo said about what the director does in regard to having training manuals on lying, cheating, and stealing.
This is rich.
He claims he's scientific, but this video is horrific. He's the washed-up 90s nerd who just dropped a propaganda turd. Terrible, Emily. Bill Nye, the science whatever, created a TikTok.
And I agree with Gutfeld. There's a lot of things that Greg Gutfeld says on this segment that I completely agree with just because it's true. You will, top of the heap as far as propagandists, puppet propagandists being used to push, what changed narratives, big farm guy narratives, you name it, right on down the line. I would think of Bill Nye, top 100 at least.
Video promoting Biden's infrastructure plan, Build Back Better. Other than schools, it's the best place to indoctrinate tweens. And boy, does it suck.
Please consider the following. If you're like me, you want the U.S. to be a bit better. And for that, we have two bills, and I'm not either one of them. I mean, I'm a bill. I'm not an infrastructure bill. You've heard about that. The House of Representatives passed it recently. That's for our roads, our power lines, our water pipes, to upgrade them.
So even if it was for roads, water, electric, bridges, infrastructure, even if it was for that, how do you get the funds for that? Oh, politicians write bills which become laws, which aren't laws at all. They're just political parasitic opinions. But what's the end result? Theft, mass theft and extortion by the barrel of a government gun in order to get the funds so that government can waste it on those roads. See, we could build way better. They're talking about building back better. We could have built it better in the first place, but with a voluntary society, because if you do it through voluntary funds and you do it with honest money, not the dishonest money credit system of the Zio International Banking Cartel and the petrodollar Ponzi recycling scheme, if you did it through voluntary means, you would get better quality. You would get it for cheaper. You would get it for less waste, because if you're using real money, you are incentivized to cross your T's and dot your I's and do it as efficiently and as effectively as possible. But what he's advocating for here, even though these are good, roads are good, power lines are good, water works, that's all good stuff. It's all stuff that we need for a properly functioning, civilized, convenient society. It's good stuff. All that stuff is good. But what's not good is extorting money from the people in order to get that. It's kind of like, I've used this example before. It'd be like my next door neighbors have little Timmy who can't walk, but they can't afford to give him crutches. So at 2:30 in the morning, me and Trish put on our black sweatshirts and our black sweatpants, and we put masks over our face, and we sneak to our other next door neighbor's house, and we steal the money so that we can give little Johnny and the other house some crutches. Hey, giving Johnny those crutches is a good thing. Stealing from my other neighbor to get the resources to buy those crutches, we should all have a problem with that. That's called criminal activity, and we can't accept that in a morally reputation-based society. That's what he's pushing for. He's pushing for, hey, we need these good things, but we need to do really bad and dastardly things to do it. That's what a bill is. That's what a law is. And that's what this guy's pushing, and we need to understand that. We need to realize that. We need to come to grips with it, and we need to stand against it.
Pipes to upgrade them and improvement so that we can have a better infrastructure.
Interesting. It gets better. I'm lying.
So that we can, working together, build back better.
You're using my lines here.
I really am a believer in this. I'm old enough to remember when the U.S. was the leader in innovation.
That's what we're driving at, Bill.
Driving. Yes, we love driving.
Yes, we do.
And electric cars are the future. They're clean, they're efficient, they're quiet.
We're going to build 500,000 charging stations.
And we want to electrify our ground transportation so we don't have this carbon in the atmosphere.
I'm not even sure they were together. If their chemistry were any more electric, poor people couldn't afford it this year. More cringeworthy than the time I walked in on Kilmeade's pedicure.
It does make you wonder how many times creepy Uncle Joe fell asleep during that take right there. How many takes did it actually take? Is this a green screen behind them, or are they really on the lawn of the White House? I don't know. They can make things look real. It looks like it might be green screened. Who knows? Is creepy Uncle Joe really there? Is this CGI'd?
He has 8 toes per foot. We pretty much showed you the whole clip, so finish it.
I say all the time, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8, the progress of science and useful arts. It's in the Constitution. Come on, everybody.
Yeah, there's something else in the Constitution, the Second Amendment, which Bill Nye hates. The Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. But they'll pick and choose. They'll cherry pick what they like in the Constitution. Like Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes. Congress shall have the power to use the government gun to force you out of your money so that they can use it for good projects that are good for society.
Not the love. We're just trying to change the world here, people.
We're going to change the world.
Infrastructure is cool. Isn't that what we do nowadays?
So naturally, people on Twitter are ripping the video.
It is over the top, disgusting, cringeworthy propaganda. But here's what I wanted to drill down to. One of the guests that Gutfeld has on Fox News.
Video apart, missing the bigger point, that at least they weren't naked. I kid, but my point is things can always be worse. Originally, they had Seth Rogen do the video, and I think we have tape.
You done?
So, Mikey, is it accurate to call this propaganda, or is it? I mean, he's trying to get people to be okay with spending trillions on stuff.
Yeah.
He's working for the government.
It's not, I mean, you could, I suppose, it's the worst piece of propaganda I've ever seen. And
you work for the CIA.
And I worked at the CIA.
That's the worst piece of propaganda I've ever seen, and I worked for the CIA. This guy is an ex-CIA operative. Listen to what else he says. When I think I was drinking out of this mug, actually. I think I was drinking coffee when he said the next line, and I was like...
you got us all hooked on crack in the 90s.
Well, there was that. There was MK Ultra. There was... we didn't do the crack thing, by the way.
I know.
Which camera do I look into? We didn't do the crack thing. It's so bad that
Did you see that? Did you see what they just admitted? Mike Baker, former CIA operative, you can see it right there on the screen. Get him hooked on crack. MK Ultra, he mentioned MK Ultra. How about Operation Mockingbird? How about all that stuff that the CIA actually infiltrated all televised and print media to write their own stories and spin their own narrative? This was on Fox News, and they're not denying it. It's all out in the open. Shameless. And that's why I wanted to play former CIA director Mike Pompeo. We lied, we cheated, we stole. How do we know this guy is ex-CIA? How do we know that as he's pointing out the pitiful, pathetic propaganda of Bill Nye and Joe Biden, that he's not engaged in his own propaganda before your very eyes? Well, we don't. This is so freaking interesting. And the psychological operation and the social engineers know what they're doing.
Guess what happened was they probably didn't mean for it to be bad. Then they looked at the first cut and they realized the only way we can do this is by making it really cringeworthy, because then it'll get talked about as we're doing right now. I think it was deliberate after their first rough cut, when they realized they got nothing here. Let's just make it as awful as possible.
Really? You think they're actually really, really cool?
Yeah.
They purposely decided
I
to
don't
hold
think
back
so.
how cool
I don't
they
think so.
are.
I think their marketing team or their messaging team made the only decision they could at a certain point. And so
you think? It makes me wonder what kind of insider this guy really is. If he truly is ex-CIA, if he truly is, one of those agents, an operative as they call him. This is pretty deep. Let me know what you guys think about that.
While we have time and it still retains some of its perceived value, maybe it'd be a good idea to convert your worthless fiat into valuable, storable food. Don't be the one who waits till the food riots start happening. You don't want to be fighting panicking people in the store over that last jar of peanut butter. At Prepare with High Impact Flicks, you can get up to 3 air and watertight gasket sealed ammo cans, each filled with a 4-week emergency supply. 7 food varieties, 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and each meal comes in a resealable, heavy-duty 4-layered pouch. And it's got a 25-year shelf life. Every order of a 4-week supply gets you $100 off plus free shipping. Here's how simple it is to make. I'm going to cook up some Granny's home-style potato soup. People are gonna think I'm a culinary hero. You open the pouch, boil 4.5 cups of water, stir the contents, simmer on low heat for 15 to 20 minutes, take it off the heat, then let it set for 2 to 3 minutes before you serve it up.
Man, this stuff's so good, people are gonna think Granny stopped by and filled your kitchen with a whole bunch of love.
Well, if Granny does stop by, she's gonna fill your behind with a whole bunch of buckshot if you keep talking with your mouth full. Wipe your dang beard off. It's embarrassing. So maybe convert some of your worthless fiat into valuable food while you still can. Order now and get $100 off of up to 3 4-week emergency food supplies at preparewithhighimpactflix.com. The link is in the description.